Hello, welcome to Breakfast Talk, episode 29. Um, gonna, I'm here by myself, obviously. Um, doing things a little bit different because I'm not gonna be talking about entertainment stuff. Not today. Um, the last episode, you can click above to watch our latest episode that just came out, episode 28. That was the whole like trailer breakdown of the Matrix that's coming out in December, which looks awesome. But I am going to be talking about literally this podcast and just my overall thoughts on this entire season 2 that we have been doing. And I would really like to hear people's like opinions on like what they want to see, or like should we go back to like what we did in season 1. And I'll tell you why in a sec. But first, please like, share, and subscribe. Helps with the algorithm, and it'd be awesome to have engagement. Okay, so I'm not even going to add the intro in here because I just want to get to the point. So this isn't going to be like a hour-long episode or anything. Okay, so Breakfast Talk started last year, actually a little before like last year. It started last year in 2020, but before we actually started the podcast, it was just Hector, Dylan, and I, and we were like just talking on like Zoom and stuff a bunch, just having meetings about things business related or whatever. Then that's what sparked season 1 of like, oh, why don't we just record this and it would be a podcast. And that was awesome, and it went over well enough for like our niche. But then I decided to like switch gears and try to get views over what I actually really wanted to do on our YouTube channel. We were trying to, I was trying to like bring viewership of some sort to our YouTube channel, and it just wasn't doing. It hasn't been doing that, and I'm not like a YouTube guru or anything. So I know that like it takes like patience and time, and I don't have the time to focus on this podcast when there's all these other ones that we have created. So in order to do that, we're gonna be going through some changes. So last year we didn't do that as much, but this year we had a couple breaks here and there because like our schedules just didn't like conflicted or whatever, and we couldn't release an episode. So I either have been doing like a lonely episode, like a solo episode, or just haven't recorded one. And we are still in a way ahead of ourselves. So episode 28, as I'm recording this, isn't even out yet, but it has come out by the time you are watching this. Because we do pre-record if we can, and we always pre-record, but we try to be like at least one episode ahead of what we're actually recording. Now, this season 2 was all like entertainment news and trailer breakdowns, and that stuff's awesome. But like, I don't think that is what I at least want to do for this podcast. One, as a podcast, you can't even see half the stuff that we're talking about because it's a podcast. Yeah, so you would only be able to watch it, and that restricts some people that don't want to go on our YouTube to watch something. So instead, which I totally get. So you just want to listen to it because you're either at work or in the car or wherever you're listening to this. If you don't actually watch the episode, so or the other million podcasts that we have. So what we're going to be doing is transitioning some of our podcast, and we're also going to take one away. I don't know which one yet. Just not the Sierra Nova one. Sierra Nova podcast is our first ever podcast that we created, and I'm not getting rid of that because I have plans for that. Because when that comes back next month in October, technically this month as you're watching this, it's going to be coming back near the end of the month, and I already have plans for people on our platform who are going to be a part of it, and I'm going to be interviewing them and stuff. And we're going to close out the year with our virtual Comic-Con. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. But we're actually closing out our Comic-Con with a game show that we're going to be doing with Breakfast Talk. So it's going to be Hector, Dylan, and I, and maybe a couple other people, and we're going to be doing some sort of game show that we're still figuring out, so it would actually work. But that's been in like the back of my mind of could we turn this into like a game show or some other sort of thing, because I do like the advice things that we did, all the like creator advice that we did in the first season. We shied away from that because we thought we had like that imposter syndrome thing of, oh, we're like babies of this whole comic book creation industry thing and the whole community, and who are we to give advice to people? But I guess some people liked it. so that was cool. If we do talk more about that stuff again, then you can watch Dylan talk about 5 different books in one episode. So there's that. We're gonna have a discussion off podcast between the three of us to figure out the direction of Breakfast Talk and the other podcast. I'm not getting rid of Smo Talk, as that is fine, because it's gonna be individual. It's still individual episodes of whatever we care about that somehow relate to something that actually people actually want to watch. So that's still going to be a thing. I might not make everything a podcast anymore because some things just don't translate well into a podcast format. Kind of like this season of Breakfast Talk didn't really translate into that. Like I could have took some of the episodes that we did and just put them on YouTube. That's it. Like all the trailer breakdowns, like you can't see that. So it never made sense to me why I was doing that and why as I was editing the videos. So now that I have better video editing software and all that other stuff, I'm trying to think smarter and not work so hard where I don't need to. So I might just make some of these shows either not exist anymore, like at least one, and I'm also going to make it so not all of them are podcasts. I'm still trying to figure out which ones I don't want to be a podcast anymore, but it kind of like, if Breakfast Talk becomes just like a visual kind of thing and we're just talking about trailers or whatever we decide to actually make for this podcast or video series, this is what it'll be. Like that is what it'll be, not this. You're not gonna just hear me talk. So yeah, we will figure that out. We do have a Halloween episode that is happening on Halloween, so that's actually pretty cool. Just how that fell, and it's the 31st episode, it will be the 31st episode of Breakfast Talk. And then we're going to be doing an episode or two before we get to the virtual Comic-Con that we're going to be doing in November. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the transitions that we're going to be going through with all of our like shows and stuff, because we have like 6 shows, and every time we go on like a little break, I do notice that more people start watching or listening to our stuff because now they can catch up, and I think it's because of like fatigue, like people are getting too much content thrown at them all at once. So I get that, because I can't catch up on things that I want to do because I'm editing all this stuff. So, but yeah, I think so. We're gonna have a discussion, the 3 of us, and then we're gonna figure out the actual direction of Breakfast Talk after, for season 3. It's like, because I like the whole season thing, so that's staying. But season 3 is season 3 will be like the start of either keeping this format that we do, but I'm going to be taking that out of the podcast equation, or we're going to bring it back to like the season 1 vibes of, yes, we have like better, equipment in a way. I'm going to get a different mic, actually, speaking of that, because I don't like this thing in my face when I'm talking and stuff. Yeah, so if you listen to the podcast and you like Breakfast Talk, maybe voice a concern, or tell me. There's voice message on Anchor. You can send voice messages when you're listening to an episode. You can also just message me and be like, hey, don't do this or do this, and then maybe we'll take up your idea and even shout you out because of it. If you watch the video on YouTube, you can comment, because we are asking people to do that, and just nothing. Nobody has really done that except like a select few people. So yeah, that's what's going on in my head right now. I'm tired of doing all the stuff, and I did do this to myself. I made all these shows, and I'm like, yeah, because like we've been just waiting to get our comics made. We were like catching up all 2020, well, from 2020. We were catching up this whole year, from the one Kickstarter that we did last year for Seer Chronicles. So as we're like finally getting to the end of that and to the end of this year, it's like I've come to a realization of like, oh, I think it's time to change a couple things. What would you want to see or hear if we keep this a podcast? What show have we done or are we doing that you like the most and the least? If you can comment in like on our YouTube, or message us. We have Instagram, Twitter, we have all that stuff. I will answer. So just message us, or leave a comment on this video, and we will be doing some sort of change. I don't know if it's to this show or the others, but something's gonna change, because everything can't be a podcast. So, and some people will probably be like, why can't it? Well, I said earlier,